It's time for the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Powerful and liberating business strategies you can start in 5 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, Dean Soto.
Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of FreedomIn5Minutes.com and ProSulam.com. We're here again with another Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode. Today's topic is this: how to deal with aggressive and unfriendly customers. That and more coming up. Well, good day to you. Another podcast. This time I am not with the Lunameister, but I'm out. Hopefully I can get this podcast done by the time this storm arrives. So we have a storm kind of coming and brewing over here. It should come around 2 o'clock my time, which is in about a half hour. But I love storms. Bring the storm. And it kind of coincides with what we're going to talk about right now. So this has happened multiple times in the service. You're just going to have this happen in the service industry. But I have one customer in particular who they started the process of coming on probably around, I want to say November of last year, so it's January. They started coming on board around November, and they've taken a long time, partially because they just took a long time, but partially it's also because they are very old school. Okay, they're very old school. In fact, the person who wanted to hire us is kind of the younger of the two, and he's the older generation as well. And so it's interesting. So on the sales call, everything was like, your virtual systems architects is amazing. The fact that I can take video and get everything scaled. I want to scale my business. I want to do all that stuff. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing, 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 amazing. Sounds great, amazing, amazing. So it was all roses and butterflies. Now they're in the process of actually getting introduced to their virtual systems architect, right? And throughout this process, throughout the onboarding call, throughout the process in general, they've just been very adversarial. And so to the point where my general manager, he does all of our onboarding calls. And he said, hey, we highly recommend these particular tools. They've done really, really well. So we recommend tools like Asana. We recommend tools like Slack and things like that. Very up-to-date, very modern tools for communicating and for project management and things like that, right? Woo, the wind's starting to pick up. That's why I kind of was like, whoa, a little bit quiet there for a second. So anyway, so all of this being said, they were like, essentially when he made that recommendation, they said, no, we're old school. We don't want to bring on anything like that. We don't want to do anything new and stuff like that. But it's funny because the whole point in getting a virtual systems architect was the fact that they were old school and they wanted to do things better. They wanted to be able to get more value and do things in a more effective way and scale their business, right? Because they have a really cool business. It's a kind of a private banking business, and it's really awesome. And the people are super nice. I mean, they were, at least when I was talking to them, they were super nice. But it seems more and more that it's kind of like, and then we had so one of the guys has he uses a completely different business domain for his email. And so, we've had an influx of a lot of different customers. And so my general manager thought that the email that he was using was the business name, right? Was the business that, because we always have like a little tracker, project management tracker that we use. And so he thought that that was the business name. And so he introduces their virtual systems architect to him, and immediately the person shoots back and is like, that's the wrong business name. That our business name is, such and such. I'm not going to say what it is because they'll be upset. I don't want them to be upset with me. But they said that our business name is this. You best make sure that, essentially, you best make sure that the VSA knows what business they're working for. The other thing was on the onboarding call. So we always try to, because our virtual systems architects are human beings. These are people who have families, who actually have lives just like you and I do. and one of the things that my general manager was saying is that they didn't want to give a certain amount of vacation. They didn't want to give a certain amount of this. They didn't want to give these holidays or that holidays and things like that. And it was just like, holy crap, where did all this come from, right? Where did all this come from? Well, so all in all, my past reaction to all of this would have been to shoot back an email and be like, especially I defend my guys, right? I defend everyone who works for me. And so my initial reaction is essentially to be like, hey, buddy, listen, if you want to work with us, you got to stop being a jerk, or you got to follow the system. And I will. If it gets to the point where he's not following the system, I'll do that. But the very first thing that I've learned to do is to simply wait a few hours before responding. One of the worst things you can do is respond right away, right? When you're all emotional, when they're emotional, and all that other stuff. So wait a few hours. I also let my guy handle it, right? I don't want to come in swinging if my guy handles it and wants to handle it, right? I want him to be able to get the skills necessary to quell situations like this, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to let him handle it as well. It's not fair to him for me to jump in all the time, right? The other is I can very easily develop a process of creating create a video, have it get documented where the process is, hey, if someone is being, aggressive or anything like that, here's some ways to, the things that I will always want you to put in the email. So things like, oh, I understand, or, your point is valid, things like that, right? Because a lot of the time, you just don't know what's going on. And then you don't know what's going on with them. It might be personal things. It might be whatever. And they're excited to get started, but like they have all this personal stuff going on. Like, in fact, right now, even though I sound wonderful, I sound like happy-go-lucky, I've had a pretty bad day. Like, my day sucked, honestly, just to be completely honest. It sucked. And that is going to bleed through into, one, it bled through into the topic, because I'm like, I want to have a more of a negative topic. I want to have a topic where I can kind of vent and let things out. It's gonna bleed into how I even with my business partner Paul. I sent him a WhatsApp today and I said, hey man, sorry for if I'm being really short in responses. I just had a really bad day. It bleeds into my interactions with everybody. It's just natural. It's just the way it's going to be, right? And so you don't know what's going on in their life. They might be super excited. They might understand your system. They might understand exactly what you're doing, but something is going on in their life that it's bleeding through, right? It might even be infighting. This person is taking over the business, but there might be some infighting he's trying to show that he's the one in charge and going to be the one in charge. And so that bleeds through as well, right? So there's a number of things that you just got to have to consider. So, the first thing that I always recommend, like I said, is wait. Don't let your emotions get to you, okay? Don't let your emotions get to you. Number two, I would say that, one, is this the right person that you want? Is this somebody that you actually truly want to work with? They might have gone through all your hoops. They might have gone through and looked amazing and looked like a great client that you were excited to work with, but then things changed, right? Do you really want to work with this person? I've fired many a customer. I have no problem telling a customer to go away because I'd rather us not work together and give them back their money and cancel and not work than to be in a relationship, just a bad relationship with someone, right? Nobody wants to be in a bad relationship. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. It's going to tarnish your brand and all that other stuff, right? So number three is, did you do something wrong? Did you do something that was out of your process? Did you do something that might have upset them? You can always ask, right? You can always ask. And it kind of follows on to number four, all right? Number four, before we get into number four, number three, don't be afraid to ask, okay? A lot of the times with email, especially with email, a lot of the times there's no emotional context. There's no intonation. You can't tell how somebody is actually talking. They might be totally happy and laughing and being a little sarcastic and tongue in cheek, but with the way that you read it, it sounds like they're being nasty, right? So you can always ask. Feel free to ask. Hey, is there anything wrong? It sounds like you might be upset with how things are going. Did you have any questions or anything I can help with? Feel free to ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. It makes you to be the better person anyway, right? And it leads me to number four, which is you don't know how somebody is sounding on email. And I kind of mentioned this before. Number three, email is very deceptive. Very deceptive. People do not have the ability yet to have any type of intonation with email. And so things can be misconstrued big time, right? Things can be misconstrued big time, okay? Now, I'm not saying that they could totally be aggressive and they could truly be a customer that's not a good fit, but you just have to keep in mind that email is very, very deceptive. I remember when I was working at Boeing a while back, there were times where I would send off an email or somebody would send me an email and I thought, what a freaking jerk. And I'd shoot back an email and we'd go back and forth and it would turn into this huge thing. And come to find out, right in the very beginning, that the person didn't mean anything like aggressive or harsh or mean or anything like that. Boeing Aerospace has a lot of people and every team uses email back and forth. It's very hard, very, very difficult to tell how somebody is coming across with email. Okay. That's why to me, email is a great medium for getting just quick facts, right? I think it's a great medium that not for long-winded stuff. It's more for quick facts, quick things, quick data and things like that. I mean, obviously you can't avoid it, but all the time, but that's in my opinion. And then number five is really seeing that the problem with aggressive customers usually falls on you, okay? Do you really truly want a customer in a specific industry, with a specific age, a specific gender? The way that you do your lead generation, the way that you get customers, are you just trying to get any customer? Are you trying to get any client? Are you trying to simply just get as much money as possible without being discriminating? I love discrimination. In our culture, discrimination is a really bad thing, right? It's considered a bad thing. I love discriminating. And I discriminate like crazy because In this particular case, I was a little hesitant, and I should have kind of gone with my gut. We'll see how it works out, but I was a little hesitant. People who are of an old school mindset, of the old way of doing business, of the old way of, especially with how to work with employees, right? People who are used to training, let's hop on a Zoom, or let's hop on a call, and I'm going to walk you through our business. I'm going to walk you through some of the things you're going to do, and yada, yada, yada. And if nothing gets documented, it's more of like, here, let me train you and brain dump on you. Like, those types of people do not do well with our stuff. And I weed them out as fast as possible, because they end up being retarded. Like, they end up being just like every other business out there. Okay. And you might be thinking, oh, Dean, why are you saying retarded? That's such a bad word, and we're not allowed to say that word. No, retarded literally means that you have been, and something is retarded. So if your growth of your business stops, it literally is retarded. Your business growth has become retarded. Okay? And that's the last thing I want. I've seen so many times, as long as you follow the system, as long as you follow our system, you do your videos 5 minutes a day, 5 to 10 minutes a day, do your videos, let them get documented, and then let the person do it. Massive results. Okay? And so I have no hesitation in saying that, look, if you do this, you will see some great results, more than likely. I mean, 99% of the time you're going to see great results. If you don't, 99% of the time it's going to suck for you. If you want to be old school, you want to do things the way it was done in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and the 2000s, go somewhere else. Go find a virtual assistant and, try and train them. Waste your 3 to 6 months trying to do it, and start all over again. Waste another 3 to 6 months. Throw your hands up in the air and go right back to exactly where you're at. Okay? And you might be thinking, Dean, you're so mean. No, it's better for you. It's better because it's better for you. It's better for me, because you're not wasting my time. I'm not wasting your time. You don't understand the system. You're not following the system. I don't know what to say. Okay. So the biggest thing with number 5 is making sure that you have a good process of weeding out bad clients. Okay. Good process of weeding out bad clients. So why is this important? It's important because you want to work with people who are good, who are people who are a good match for you, that you enjoy working with. I have closed businesses, closed products, closed things simply because the types of people who buy those things, like, so for example, dream drop shipping, I used to sell on how to sell on Amazon. 95% of the people I don't like. Okay? I don't like that industry. 5% I love. There are certain people who I absolutely love. We still talk. And that product did very well. I closed it down because I'm like, I would rather focus all my time on people that I like, in an industry that I like. And in fact, even with my current, with Prosulum, with Freedom in 5 Minutes, Virtual Systems Architects, there are certain industries I do not like. And one of those is financial services. That is such a old school market that it's I'm pretty much going to shut it off. I only have a few that are great customers, but 99% of financial services, especially financial advisors, oh my gosh. Like, how do you guys survive? Seriously, how do you guys survive? And so I don't want any part of it. And am I losing money? Am I leaving money on the table? Yes, but I'm going to pick it up somewhere else. I'll have like a whole banquet table somewhere else, and I'll love it and I'll enjoy it. And it'll be with people who I actually like being with. And who like being with me? Oh, man. All right. So this is important, right? The most important thing is you want to be working with people that you really, truly enjoy. Okay. So all that being said, this is Dean Soto, freedomin5minutes.com. Go check out freedomin5minutes.com. There's a lot of cool stuff there. Masterclass. We have a business process scorecard. Also check out prosulum.com. If you go to prosulum.com, and if you try to leave the site, if you move your mouse up, boom, you'll get a pop-up that'll let you get a 4-video series course that is actually pretty cool. I love it. It is pretty amazing. So anyway, all that being said, Dean Soto, freedomin5minutes.com. This is the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. But for now, I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode.
Thanks for listening to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Now, head over to www.freedomin5minutes.com and register for our free masterclass and discover how to start systemizing and automating your entire business 5 minutes at a time. We'll see you next time on the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.